Sandeep Adnani is the Amazon #1 best-selling and award-winning author of The Codes of the Exiled Rogue and The Origin of the Exiled Rogue ebooks. He nurtured this metaphysical and transformational fiction idea for 6 years before publishing the first part in December 2019. The Prophecy of the Exiled Rogue Series Book 3. This book is the last book of the Exiled Rogue series, a trilogy about the purpose and meaning of life and beyond. Hi, I'm Paul from Trending Who, What, Where, and When. Today I will be speaking with Amazon #1 best-selling author Sandeep Adnani about his book, The Prophecy of the Exiled Rogue. Sandeep will be joining us from Melbourne, Australia.
When your country is in lockdown, Australia has been for 20 odd months. If the state borders are open, you would travel interstate because that's the only option you have right now. All state borders are, but back in December when state borders were open, I was in Queensland for a 2-week trip, and it was beautiful. Victoria is not known for its beaches, but New South Wales and Queensland are known for their beaches. So I'll tell you a little bit about all the places I went to in Queensland. So I'd like to start with Noosa. Noosa is a little coastal, there's a river as well as a coast, and it's known for its water activities. So when boating and long walks and amazing food and really nice touristy vibe you get over there. It's like full of tourists. And on the way back from Noosa, our friends took us to Montville. Montville, you literally feel like you've stepped through like a window in time, because it's like each and every house or building is like got its own unique architecture, very European, hilly, and amazing, mountain views, really nice. Another nice location was Stradbroke. Now that's a place where you drive to a point, and then you take the car onto a ferry, and then you get off onto this island, and beautiful island, stunning, and a stunning trek with stunning, kind of like Cornish seas, rocky seas with a lot of surf, really pretty. And Gold Coast, of course, is a major, tourist attraction, and everybody goes down to sun themselves. The major beaches are like Surfers Paradise and Broad Beach. And I'd like to share a funny story with you about this location called Burleigh Heads. So we were driving from, I think, Broad Beach to Burleigh Heads. So there are 2 ways to get there. One is you are driving within Queensland territory, and the other is you drive through New South Wales border and you come back. Now, unwittingly, our navigation took us through New South Wales, which was at lockdown during that time. And you needed a permit to re-enter Queensland. So we're on the highway, and I'm like, guys, this says welcome to New South Wales. Oh my God, we all started freaking out. That will they put us in quarantine? Will they believe that we just drove off the wrong way? But the border patrol were really nice about it. They saw our IDs and they saw that, the friends were from Queensland, and just said, no need to get a border pass and no need to make a declaration and all that stuff, and just drive back in. So that was our little adventure, because as you know, things are very strict here. So they make and especially interstate, they make a big deal about, going back and forth. So that was the adventure at Burleigh Heads. Brisbane is the biggest city in Queensland, and with great river views, lots of vantage points, and great places to eat. They just had their River Fire Festival, which went ahead because they're one of the few states here that is not in lockdown, and they had fireworks and they had a great display, etc. So we in Victoria are very jealous of them.
So for someone to visit Queensland, they'd need some time because there's a lot to see there.
A lot, and a lot of it is by road. So, there's tons to see. There's a lot of natural beauty. When people come down this side of the world, they should take out a month at least. I mean, you could spend about 2 weeks in Australia, 2 weeks in New Zealand, and you pick your bits. And that too, you can't see all of Australia. Obviously, you see, one side of it. It feels like another lifetime ago when things were open and you could travel, because right now we've been given like increments of 5, 10, 15. We're at 15 kilometers now, so we can travel up to 15 kilometers. But at the peak of lockdown, you can only travel 5. So when things were open, my friends and I were taking day trips, and then also weekend trips. So Bendigo was one of the day trips. Go by train, regional Victoria, lovely city, European landscapes, lots of spires, lots of churches in the skyline, a lovely hill, which gives you a good vantage point of the whole city. Kind of a little bit of an Edinburgh vibe, but obviously much tinier. No castle to highlight. Very nice museum. And Geelong is another lovely city, coastal city, again in regional Victoria. Lengthy promenades and exhibits and fairs, etc., along the promenade. So regional has been doing much better than metropolitan Melbourne. So they're leading pretty much normal lives as opposed to us. Torquay is also very very lovely. It's near Geelong, and it's a beachside town, very lazy town. Again, stunning beaches, stunning waters. And my favorite out of all these is Bright. Bright was a 4-hour journey from Melbourne, a combination of train as well as coach, and stunning alpine town. And it's known to have the best fall in Victoria. So amazing autumn colors, and really picturesque. And by 6 o'clock, it's dark. There's nothing around, nothing open. So it's one of those 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. kind of towns. And I did a nice trek there as well. So that was good. And as you know, Melbourne is also known for its art and culture scene. So the Triennial exhibit in the National Gallery of Victoria was stunning with its digital art. A lot of conceptual pieces, a lot of pieces which give you make you the kind of exhibit, because they're like tiny people on the floor watching you as if you are the one on display. So that was really cool. And the Van Gogh exhibit has been long overdue. It's been waiting to open. It should have opened a few weeks ago, but I think it'll open next month. So that's here. It's a beautiful, immersive digital art experience where you're actually in the art inside the starry night. And that's coming to Loom, Melbourne. So looking forward to that as well.
Well, please tell us about your background and the steps leading up to your writing The Prophecy of the Exiled Rogue, book 3 of 3 of the Exiled Rogue series.
When I wrote the first book, I realized that the story has a lot of legs, and there's a lot more to say. So I had announced a trilogy in January of 2020. I didn't know what the trilogy would be or where it would go exactly, but I knew there was a lot more to be said. I wrote book 2 and 3 pretty much back to back, and it was it flowed. Like it was a very seamless continuation of the characters' journeys, and there was one message that I was trying to say from the beginning, and I think that was the feedback I got from my editor, that you've been able to say what you want to say, and you've been able to close the series, and you've been able to give the message. So I was very happy with how it turned out. And the last chapter for the author is always bittersweet. So when I was writing chapter 72, I remember spending a lot of time on it because I had so many words, which which each word spoke like a story or a message. And I was very happy with when I finally closed it, because I was like, okay, this is saying everything I need to say, and hopefully it touches people. Yeah.
So the last chapter too of the third book was a lot of extra work trying to get everything into it.
Yeah. To make sure that the message hits hard and hits strong. So
I was impressed with it. I read it a second time a couple of days ago because the last
great.
few chapters were really good.
Great, thank you.
Well, tell us about your book, The Prophecy of the Exiled Rogue, Book 3.
Our book is obviously the completion of the trilogy, but if you look at the way the trilogy progresses, the first book, The Codes of the Exiled Rogue, is like a micro approach to changing people's perspective, to challenge what they think, and to get them not only outside the box, but outside the room, kind of, so to speak. Origin of the Exiled Rogue was like a macro approach. You're trying to shift the awareness of people, the characters in the book, but also people reading the book. And prophecy for me is like a meta exercise where you introduce new truths and new dimensions to our current reality. Because I think, especially now with the pandemic, we've been questioning so much, our life, our purpose, work from home, schooling from home, everybody's lives have been turned upside down. So people are really going inwards, and I was hoping that this book will help them and give them some kind of perspective. I'd like to read the first paragraph of the book. It goes like this. The host appeared on the hilltop, wanting to take in the majestic view one last time. This place is my first memory from more than 100 years ago. I don't remember anything about my human existence before that. It's odd, but the future, though unknown, is not a source of fear for me. I'm happy to move forward and see what lies ahead, he thought. So there's enough here to tease people because there's human existence and there's 100 years, so that should get their brain cells ticking, and hopefully go pick up the book.
Actually, mentioning that, I noticed that your book is now published and available in India on Amazon.
Yes, so that was a great thing that happened with the publisher. So as you know, all my books are self-published, and India doesn't have a self-publishing, Amazon doesn't have a self-publishing unit in India yet. You still need to go through a publisher. So this publisher approached me and said that I would like to, put your paperbacks in the market. I said, great, I've been looking for somebody. And it happened very quick. And I'm told that a lot of books have been ordered, and in fact, entire series has been ordered many times. So I guess a lot of my friends and family and people who have seen the posts and engaged with social media have been waiting, and there it is. It's priced competitively, and the quality is pretty much the same world over. So it's doing well.
Looks like you got great reviews on Amazon in India.
Yes, people have connected to it. Also, I guess because in India, the metaphysical is not something, outwardly. People tend to have a lot of metaphysical thought anyway. We focus on karma, we focus on past life or future lives or dimensions. So it wasn't something which was outlandish. I think people kind of dove straight into it. And I've got some really good reviews. Not so flattering reviews as well. People didn't connect with it, but I guess that's part of the creative process. You're going to come across people who don't connect with your work, which is
There are a
completely fine.
few, but overall, the majority of the people, well, I think 4.5 out of 5 stars, had
Yeah,
nothing but good things, and they had long reviews going on and on
yeah.
about what they liked about it. So they understood the book and did like it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some people have gone into really specific detail, and that was really touching, because then you feel like, okay, your work has, reached somebody. It's actually struck a nerve with somebody.
I know, having seen those reviews, had I not already read the books, I would definitely buy it, because when I see that people spending that much time explaining something
Yeah,
in a positive way, I would look for the book.
it was amazing. I mean, people usually write good book, great read, like 2 words
Yeah,
or a line or
yeah,
two, but
yeah.
people really took time. That was really nice. The American Book Fest holds 3 different types of awards in the year, and just on a whim, I entered the first book, and I was very surprised to be chosen as a finalist, which they consider an award-winning finalist. So that was something great, and I felt like positive. I said, okay, let me enter the second book as well. And the second book did exceedingly well. It won a category, the alien space science fiction category, and it also was an award-winning finalist in the visionary fiction category. So it was not a genre I set out to write, like in my head that, oh, this is a visionary fiction. It was a story I wanted to say, and I had settled on metaphysical. And as you know, that uh, in Amazon, it was a #1 bestseller in the metaphysical category. But this, you learn more about your work as time goes on, and it's great that there are categories, for literature like this, for books like this. So I'm glad it's doing well. And there is another award that I have entered it for, which the announcements are in November, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I go through there as well.
So all 3 books of the Exiled Rogue series were Amazon bestsellers in multiple categories. Tell us
Yeah.
about this achievement.
So when you go on to KDP, there's so many, there are millions of titles. So it was great to see that all the work I have done on social media and engaging with people on Facebook and Twitter, etc., that drumming up the interest pre-release, people went ahead and bought the book. And when you publish it, you choose certain categories, and then if you're lucky, if people buy enough books, you make it to the bestseller list. So I think each book kind of rode on the success of the previous book, and also worked hard on teasers and trailers and all kinds of things, and character sketches, title reveals, and all kinds of things. It's like just because that's the only way you stay on top of anybody's thoughts or consciousness over here, because there's so much messaging, there's so much going on, so much media and content to consume. So if you can stand out even a little bit, then you'll stay in somebody's memory.
What research did you do in preparing these books?
There's obviously, historical research, because it's set in Hong Kong, and we're speaking about Hong Kong of the future and Hong Kong of the present. What our current present is, that also came up. COVID also came up in the book, and of course, 100 years ago. So there was a lot of historical research, but also there was a lot of metaphysical research. I wanted to say something that hasn't been said before, but also you kind of stay in the genre. So that research was there. A lot of different languages make an appearance in the book. So that was fun, to Spanish and Ethiopian and Hindi. So there was a lot of stuff going on. And that's been particularly challenging for my voice talent for the audiobook, because obviously there's so many different words and different ways to say them, and it's an English voice that's going to be narrating the book. So I keep getting back to him and saying, oh, this, can you say this differently, because it doesn't sound right, etc. So I'm very excited about that as well.
So when will that be available?
I'm hoping for a February release.
Okay.
So the recording is going well, and I guess they'll have enough time for production and quality control, and then upload it. The books are obviously ready. We're just getting all the cover and campaign art together for that, and there'll be a whole big release for that as well. So just enjoying that creative process.
So what are your favorite parts of the third book?
Oh, my favorite part of the third book, or all the books rather, is to compel readers to think. So I remember people coming back to me and saying, oh, I never thought of so many perspectives of time or so many ways to think about history, or I like the way you've spoken about the afterlife, or I like how you've addressed our evolution or our purpose on Earth. So obviously everybody at some point or other has these thoughts, and it was so good to be able to start a dialogue and say, okay, what do you think, what do I think about this? Obviously it's a story, so it's just the purpose is just to make you think. But yeah, that was my highlight.
What would you say are the most controversial parts of your books?
Obviously when we're talking about afterlife and evolution, etc., the question about God or something divine or something larger than us comes up. And I've been very careful and very clear as well in the book that I've stayed away. I'm like, when that question does come up, and the answer is I don't know. That's what the characters answer. So when matters of faith come up, I think it's very personal. So we don't get into that discussion with people. And I also affirm that the book is a perspective, and it's meant to make you think about your present and take responsibility for your own evolution and for the environment around you. It's a story to help you introspect. So that's it. But yeah, there was, when I was writing that, one comment I got from somebody is that, oh, you haven't spoken about different faiths. You've mentioned one or two, but you haven't mentioned all. I said, this is not meant to be a commentary on faith. It's just by chance. There's nothing deliberate about it.
Will we see your book trilogy as a movie on Amazon Prime or as a Netflix series?
That is definitely the hope, because as you know, I'm a blogger as well, and I love film, I love movies, and I've been blogging up. I write reviews every day, every other day. So I had done a little piece about this because just to engage with Twitter users and social media, because I had released sketches about what I think the characters look like, but at the end of the day, they're sketches. But when you give people a real face, especially a celebrity face, they are more connected to them. So I have 7 main characters in the series, and I think Jackie Chan, Michael Gambon, Ranveer Singh is a very popular Bollywood actor, Penelope Cruz, Chris Hemsworth, Kerry Washington, and the most important character obviously would be played by Charles Michael David. So I think they would play. They would look as close to the characters and be as close to the ethnic as well as the age of the characters, and I think this would be a dream cast if I were given the budget and the reins to produce it.
It looks like you're ready to go forward.
In my head, I've put it out there. I'm just waiting for the universe to manifest it.
Are you working on any upcoming books?
Yes. So I have stepped aside from the metaphysical transformational genre, and I've actually taken on a very difficult task of combining sci-fi with romance. So my new story is set in the year 2211, and it starts on the moon. It goes forward to Mars, and then it ends on Earth. So that's the kind of trajectory for the story. And it's been very difficult to kind of weave in both things. One side is so technological, and one side is so, emotional and so human. So I'm just trying to marry both of those, and let's see what the result is. And also I'm releasing the audiobook for the whole series, the hardcover for the whole series, the paperback for the whole series, and the ebook for the whole series next year, early next year, which will have art from the series. The ebook will have the art from the series featured inside it. So that's the way I'll market it to people, that it'll include art and illustrations from the series, just to give people more of an idea of when I say Woojing Garden, or if I speak about a specific scene or landmark or monument. So there's some art in there as well. People can have a look. It'll be the complete series book that's being released. So all the same characters, but it'll be in one volume rather than 3 separate books. And KDP has come out with a hardcover version as well. So that'll be nice, for make it like a collector's item. Yeah, so that's the plan for February. The new genre that I'm writing, I think it'll be a 2023 release.
2023, have to wait until 2023.
Yeah.
It's complicated starting on the moon and going to Mars.
Yes. But in 2211, you can take liberties. You can say that there's a technology to do that, and I've taken some liberties there. But yeah, it's a total leap from what I was doing. I mean, here I'm journeying inside the mind, and there I'm journeying, interplanetary. So it's quite a leap. I don't know if you can see, but I'm wearing a badge. This is what I gave to all the people who attended the paperback launch here in Melbourne. So I've been developing stuff like bookmarks and badges and postcards, etc. So I've just been doing that to give away at events. But if it gathers enough interest, I wouldn't mind listing it on my author website if people want to order. I would say all proceeds go to charity. I don't want any money for it. It's just if you want a piece of the book outside the book, then here it is.
Having written all of these books, what advice would you have for new writers?
Oh my God, there's so much out there for anybody taking on. And I think when people start to write, that itself is so daunting. They think, oh my God, how am I going to write a story? Like, how am I going to, write a whole plot and do justice to a whole arc? So I think, and a lot of people have been sharing on Twitter now about how difficult it's been for them to write, because it's just been difficult, circumstances and situations. So from my personal experience, I say that writing will come in waves. Sometimes you will ride the wave of inspiration, and sometimes you will ride the wave of not writing, but you will be plotting, you'll be researching, you'll be making notes, you'll be creating different scenarios or scenes in your head. And that should also count as writing. So just because you're not typing words onto a document doesn't mean you're not writing. The story is always in your head. It's always evolving. You're thinking of scenes, you're thinking of the plot. And I think that because we have the writing community, #writing community on social media or authors of Instagram, there's so much stuff that people are sharing with fellow writers. And people ask specific questions and they get tons and tons of replies. So engage with writers, and don't think that you're in it alone. We all have been there, and if you are on the right platforms, people will definitely pop in and help you. And I've seen a lot of people being really, really kind and helpful. And again, if you are self-publishing, it's a whole different game. If you want to do traditional publishing, you have to be ready to wait. People have been querying and getting rejections, and it's not easy. So that's why a lot of people are turning to self-publishing, because you're in control of everything, from the art to the layout to when you want to release and where you want to release. So make up your own mind. If you have a story, say it. And social media is very important. I know a lot of people are introverts, and they paint worlds and they write beautifully. But if you are not active on social media, whether you or somebody doing it for you, you'll get drowned out. You need to be visible to be noticed. So
it seems like the authors I talk to have two styles for writing. One of which is the discipline. They work 4 hours every day.
Yeah.
maybe for 6 months to a year. Then there's the other type of author who locks himself in a room with food and coffee and works 24/7 until a book is finished.
Wow.
Which would you
Wow.
be?
I think I'd be right in the middle because I don't have this thing about like, okay, these many hours a day. I know a lot of art authors, especially who've been very successful, they wake up early about 5 in the morning and they start at 6 and they by 11 they're done, and then they get down to their other, things for the day. But for me, I have my obviously, job as a counselor, but I work, with that. And I set myself a deadline. Like this time I told myself that, okay, you have the whole year to write the book, but before your birthday, you must finish the book. So my birthday is in November, and I've given myself that target that before November, you should finish writing the first draft, because obviously editing back and forth, you work on 3-4 drafts together with the editor. So that'll be another, a section, but at least get the story out and tweaked enough so that it goes out. I think I would call myself a milestone writer. I set myself a milestone or like a end date, and then I work backwards. I have this one spot in the house where I write. So that's my writing spot. But I think once the story is out, then I can edit it from anywhere. But I think writing I need to do from that one particular spot
Really?
and see that view and have access to my coffee and my breaks, etc. But definitely it's funny how every writer has their own little spot. They create a corner where they can think of different worlds and travel. It's been a good year for the series, and I look forward to sharing the complete series books with everybody next year, and that'll be great. That's what I look forward to.